very fortunate to be joined by, I'm gonna call him a super dad. He's one of the super dads. Dennis, welcome, man. Thanks for coming here, and the strength that it takes to come in here when you have a child as a patient is one thing, but to come on the radio and talk to all of us, as we are, trying to do our part and help all these kids that need our help at the $20 a month to be a team player at 954-602-5437. You experience it. You've experienced this whole process at Jody's on not just one occasion, but two. Currently, you have Sofia, your daughter. She's how old?
That's right. She's 5 years old. And it really, when you think about Jody, you said, hey, it's a hospital.
Right.
But to them, and to my daughter, up to this day, it's more like a family. When she comes here, she knows everybody by name. To her, it's more like friends. It's like, hey, let's go to my friend's house. We have experiences where she says, hey, let's go to see Dan, let's go to see the Child Life, Marnie, let's see Lapsy. And I'm like, okay, there's people,
They're there for you.
Yes.
They're there for you, but you don't want to seek them out. Now, Sofia, 5 years old, has been diagnosed with kidney disease.
That's right. We didn't know. She started having some nosebleeds one day, and then we said, hey, something might not be right. So we came here, and they said, you know what, let's analyze her, let's see what's going on. And, one day the doctor says, hey, her kidneys are not working the way it's supposed to. We're going to treat her with medicine. We start giving medicine, we start giving her everything that she needed. And relatively fast, everything went down south. And she started needing dialysis. When you hear the word dialysis, you said, what is that? What kind of medicine is that?
Right.
And then the doctors go and explain, well, it's not a kind of medicine, is, you need to have a pour in, and to put it in lame terms, what they do is they take the blood out, they clean it, and then they put it back in. So imagine that process, for an adult, it probably mind-boggling. And then you said, hey, that's not something I want my kid to go through. It's like, okay, if you want her to live, that's what she needs to do.
When you say dialysis, I think of an adult. I don't think of a 5-year-old. Or at the time she was diagnosed, 4?
She was 4. She was turning into 5, so it was like, 9 months ago, so it was there.
Now, you're her hero. Because your dad, she's daddy's little girl, and every little girl looks up to their dad as a hero. You're one of my heroes. All the parents here involved at Joe D's Children's Hospital, because I don't know how you guys muster the strength. I have a 5-year-old, same age as Sofia. I don't know how Sofia does it, and I think that it has to have a lot to do with you. And your strength, and the support here.
It does. When she says to me, she was like, I want you to wear the Superman shirt, because she's the one who told me to get one.
Yeah.
And then she called me, you're my superhero. We're Christians, and we do believe in God, and that's one of the things that she understands. She goes like, Dad, I know God, I know He exists, but I don't see Him. I see you, and then that's what I see. But all the glory goes to God. I mean, we really, our strength is there because we do have a community that help us. Our pastor, there are people at church that really are there for us, and that Jody also help us a lot. There is all the nurses, all the doctors. They do come to talk to us. They treat us like family. It goes beyond words. Like I was telling one of the nurses earlier today. It's somebody sitting behind the desk, hiring the right personnel. I cannot imagine that someone will hire somebody just because they want to have a job. I have gone to interviews myself, and you know how that process goes. Like, hey, I did good in the interview. I probably answered the right questions, but it's not just about that. It's just how much you care for the kids, and that's what I think Frank is his name, and I think that's one of the jobs that goes unnoticed here. But he's really good.
You are probably the 100th person I've heard say one particular word about this place, about Joe D. Family. And I almost feel we need a sign for when people walk in that says family. You don't normally would take and think a doctor, we're going to add them into my family. We're going to add in the nurses that give Sofia the dialysis and add them to my family. But they are part of your family, and that family's right here at Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital, and it's right here in our backyard. And it's here because of team players like you. Make the phones ring, and let's do this for Sofia. I'm hearing them ring, and those give me goosey bumps every single time.
Kyle
There
and
you
Carrie
go.
just joined the family.
Become a part of this family, and we want to be a part of Sofia and Dennis's family, and you can be a part of it as well. Become that team player. That's right. All it is $20 a month. Team player 954-602-5437.
Dennis, you have Sofia, who's 5, and your little angel, but you had a couple years ago an unfortunate situation. Sofia had a brother.
She did. His name was Mateo, and unfortunately I have to talk in the past tense because he's no longer with us. He did pass away here at the Joe DiMaggio about 2.5 years ago. He was born with an encephalocele. For those who probably do not know what that is, it's like a little mass in the back of his head, and part of the brain was hanging out there. We didn't know. We visit doctors in Jackson. We visit doctors in Miami, and at the time, Jody didn't have the personnel, the staff to handle his case. I remember, this was a process. It was a lengthy process. It was like 2 years. And one doctor came on board, in Joe DiMaggio, and if I'm not mistaken, probably was the first surgery he did here. It was my son.
Oh, wow.
And he kind of removed, I'll say probably 60% of his encephalocele, but his breathing was compromised, and he needed to be resuscitated a few times a day, probably 4 times, and his health started coming down. And one day he just couldn't do it. He just cannot stay with us anymore. And it was a sad day for my family. And some of the nurses that were there in that shift, they really took upon themselves. They say, hey, you know what? We are nurses, and we don't want to be in this situation. They're exposed to things that people out there don't even imagine. Like you said, I have a 5-year-old. Probably you don't come to a hospital that often as some of us do. But they're nurses. They really care. A surprise. My daughter had a transplant 3 weeks ago, and we found one of the nurses that was here at Joe D back then. And I said, "How come you're here?" And she was like, "It's something I have to do. The situations and what I have to deal there. It was too much for me. I need to come to an environment that I'm not so exposed." And it takes a lot. Mentally, it takes a lot.
And you got to celebrate a little bit after that transplant, because here at Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital, they had a little party for everyone, all the kids.
They did, believe it or not.
Sofia got to come.
Yes, and actually, I'm thankful that this is going on, because with this donations and everything that is being put together, they're able to bring toys to kids that are unable to go outside, that they cannot go to a store, they probably will not have Christmas, and it's a really good thing. She was here last night. He have a time of his life. He's so friends. Just imagine this for a second. You have a bunch of doctors inside a booth with Sofia taking pictures. I mean, you don't see that.
Right.
It only happens here.
Right,
Yeah.
and that party and the care that's made possible by our team players. We have a goal of 25 team players, and we only have 10 more to go. Let's get them in the next minute. We got 1 minute to get 10 more at 954-602-5437. Dennis, you're a hero. You're a hero, and you're one of the strong parents that come here and trust Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital. It's an honor for you to be here involved in the Kids Cares for Kids Radiothon. 954-602-5437. This is your chance, $20 a month, to be one of the 10 right now in the next minute to become a team player with Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital and the Kids Cares for Kids Radiothon, Kids 99.9.